Welcome to Finding Alara, a safe space where authors, artists and creatives share their world-building style and mindfulness tactics. Brought to you by Bushlane Castle Productions, a micro-publisher with an author support platform that nurtures creative growth and storytelling excellence. Welcome to the Indie Author Book Fair Minisode series. All of these interviews were recorded as a live stream from the Indie Author Book Fair on the 30th of November 2025 in Bunbury. Each Minisode will have the live interview component with myself or Paul Vandermeer from Forest.chat, an interview the guest had with Chris Ilsley on the day, and an excerpt from one of their creative works, which may just inspire you to have a closer look at what is available in the indie book world. Feature guest 10 of 27 is D.G. Loermans. Award-winning author David Loermans has made a seamless transition from poetry to fiction with his acclaimed novel Cadence, a love of immersive, creative writing combined with a passion for sci-fi or fantasy to bring this action-packed, original story to life. It is simply the start of the Pathways series and the expression of a groundbreaking theme that has been aching for release for nearly a decade. His creativity finds more relaxed outlets in digital photography when other passions for Tai Chi, time at home with his beautiful partner, and the runes of Elder Futhark allow. Many of us have role-played or delved into spiritual development, but we rarely explore beyond our own entertainment or growth. Sometimes these ideas are too big to keep to ourselves, and David will continue to share the tale of Darius Cade as new pathways are discovered. David's book, Cadence, has the hook, "You will either coexist or your existence ends. The choice is yours." David's book is available on his website, at the Indie Realm in Perth, or on Amazon, with direct links in the show notes. We have done our best to clean up the audio for the interviews, but it was recorded live. Some of the background noise has embedded itself within the file, increasing the ambience of the interview. Please note, in his disclaimer, David has advised that his book depicts a criminal world which is particularly dark and brutal. Anyone who is sensitive or likely triggered by these themes should consider whether they should proceed further. So, as in other episodes, if you do feel triggered, please look after yourself and seek help if needed. I hope that you enjoy our little chats, and I will return to your ears at the end to share my key takeaways and let you know who the next guest is going to be. Hello everyone, I'm here with Mr. David Loermans, and we're going to talk about his book Cadence, which is right here. He actually put that out last year in August, and he's been supernova and he's been around a bit. So Tell us a little bit about yourself and how you found your way onto the creative path.
I've always been into creative writing, particularly when I was in school, and this idea actually came out from role play. So I used to do role play, like standard sort of Dungeons and Dragons stuff on tabletops, but the idea evolved from some fantasy artwork. And for whatever reason, just some ideas came out of that, and we just grew it.
So what artwork was it to start with? Was it like some form of skeleton or snake?
Well, it was a tattoo that had come to life on a very heavily built man. It's called Tattoos by an artist called Boris Vallejo, who's Peruvian. I've always loved his art, but this one, for whatever reason, it just resonated a little bit more. And with the tattoo coming to life and biting into the arm of the person, it looked like an opportunity to grow something a little bit different.
Amazing. So it's sort of like that little seed and you just grew from there.
Yeah, essentially. And it's been good fun to sort of evolve a story out of that.
Yeah. So have you always done sci-fi? Do you plan on doing more?
There's a follow-on book from this that I'm already looking at. So there's further ideas that will grow out of this. But there's either sci-fi or fantasy. I like the fantasy side as well. I've had a number of fantasy authors that I've followed, and I just love that idea of being able to make up worlds of your own and to mess about with some of the laws and rules that you can't normally play about with.
So how deep did you go into the tattoo law and and the symbiotic law.
I was a little bit careful about how many sort of new rules I made. So an amount of it needed to be practical, and it was really a case of, I mean, I've got a tattoo anyway, so I understand how much pain goes into that. Addiction that goes in with it as well. So
Oh, yes, definitely.
once you get the first one, you're tempted to go and add to it and make more of it.
Yeah.
In terms of the law, I was able to make a lot of that up myself without too much difficulty, and it's set a few hundred years into the future, so I can toy with a number of different concepts. There's a religious background in here as well, so I was able to create a new religion space that ties in with getting the tattoo, and why the mercenary, who's the main character, Darius, would want to get the tattoo in the first place.
So your story, when I was reading the blurb of it, it's actually retired assassin, is it?
Well, he's an aging mercenary, so he's been on the run for 30 years. He's just finished a job, and he's looking for what the next job is going to be. But there is a price on his head, and he's been running from that for decades. So really, what he's trying to do is keep his head on his shoulders and just figure out where the next bit of work is going to come from. He has a close call right at the start of the book and decides, okay, I think having this tattoo to enhance my abilities is probably what I need to do. The tattoo is meant to link in with the religious deity, but instead it connects to
something else.
Yeah, something very different. Yeah.
So can you describe the type of author that you are? Are you sit by yourself in the room writer, or are you out in the public writer? Or
I'm not generally an out in the public writer. It might be hard to believe, but I am quite introverted, so I tend to get my ideas down by myself with a laptop and just work through it. I still work full time as well. I haven't made enough money in this space yet to be able to pull away from working full time. So it's get home, do the standard home stuff, and then bash away on the laptop for a couple of hours each night just to get the story down, and then figure out how we tie the rest of the connections in through the story in the editing process. It's been a lot of fun.
So what's your ideal writing environment? Do you have a little home office with everything set up the way you like it?
On the couch, feet up, relaxed, and I can zone out pretty well to sort of focus on what the story needs to be. That's my space. I actually like to be around with my partner, just sitting down, still enjoying what's going on with the rest of the world, but focused on getting my story down and working through the concepts and ideas.
So when you started self-publishing, did you realise how hard it was going to be? All the actual minutiae of steps that you have to go through?
I had no idea.
Did you choose to do it all by yourself, or did you use a service?
I did choose to do it all by myself, but that said, there's a lot of indie and self-publishing forums out there to help provide ideas. So there was a number of those that I lent on for advice, and you've just got to put the questions out. And a lot of these people have already been through the process well before me. They've had a number of books already published. So I just soaked up as much as I could and pinned down what we needed to do.
Do you have any advice for someone who's just getting into the publishing industry and decides to go indie themselves?
Yeah, look, in terms, I mean, as a start point, when you're writing, don't worry about trying to get to your first manuscript down with all of the editing already done. That's what the editing process is for. Get the story down in the first place. Get your ideas out on paper, and then go through editing and figure out how things need to change. And don't be afraid to go back and insert other bits that lead into the end of your book. I think that's an important point, and do take the advice of other people who've gone through the process.
Did you get ARC readers and beta readers?
I had a few, not a lot, and most of those were sort of after I'd already published. And look, some of the reviews have been really good. I've enjoyed sort of getting into that process and getting that feedback to understand what people think of it. And then we're getting into the process of looking at the next book, which will come in the next 18 months or 2 years, because it's doing it part-time. It's a process that we need to work through.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for your time today. Really appreciate talking to you. And this is currently live, and we'll put it out as a minisode later.
Thank you very much. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Have you finished building your story and you're not sure which pathway to choose for publishing? The Book Reality Experience is a publishing assistance service offering partnership publishing solutions to authors. We have different pathways available, and we'll recommend what we think works best for you and your story. Check out our website at www.bookreality.com for more information. Together, let's turn your book dream into a reality.
David Loermans at the Indie Book Festival here in Bunbury. Are you into romantic fantasy, aliens, space creatures, the demonic and otherwise hideous?
We can safely say no on at least 4 of those 5.
Oh, beautiful. What's the 5th one we can't say no to?
Well, demonic, we're probably getting close, but it's not quite in the genre space that I'm writing in.
Mm-hmm. Well, we're getting close. How close?
Well, let's say a possessed tattoo.
A possessed tattoo. Okay, you got my attention. How do you get a possessed tattoo?
Well, in this book, there's a religious order where tattoos imbue enhanced physical abilities.
Oh, okay. So if you sort of have a big, strong horse or something, you're a tougher or something like that.
Yeah. So we've got an aging mercenary. He's getting older, getting slower.
Yep.
And he needs better reactions. He needs to be able to keep out of the way of the bounty hunters that are after the price on his head.
Oh, okay.
So he gets the tattoo.
See, that's the kind of stuff I can really get into. You've got a story that there's a bounty hunter. Now that's the sort of stuff you can really get in. Yeah. What's his problem? Well, he's being chased by a bounty hunter.
Yeah. So he gets the tattoo, but it brings in a different entity, and there's now him and her. So she's the tattoo in his headspace, and they're both very solitary beings. They need to figure themselves out.
Do you seek to explain how the tattoo takes on life?
Not in this book.
We just accept that it is so.
Well, yeah. So it's quite clear that she's got her own thought patterns. She implants thoughts into his head, and she does things to help him.
The tattoo,
Yes.
who is the tattoo in this case,
Yep.
obviously is, one would imagine, obtained at a tattoo parlour at some stage.
Yes.
How long after getting the tattoo does the tattoo become she and take on a life?
Instantaneously. So it happens at the time, essentially when the tattoo's finished, because this is part of it's quite ritualistic in terms of what the tattoo brings.
Yep. What is the tattoo of? Is it a woman, is it?
No, it's a snake.
But it's a she-snake.
Yeah. Well, not that you could tell by looking at the tattoo.
No, but we know because it's a woman that it's a she-snake.
Yeah. Absolutely. So it starts off as a cobra, fully fleshed out.
So a pretty full-on snake.
Yeah, absolutely. But when she comes into it, she strips the flesh back off it and makes it skeletal. So it's just the skeleton of the snake. So that's part of her influence.
So the tattoo proper changes.
Yes.
From when he got it at the parlour.
Yep. So it happens right at the end of that tattooing process.
How does he react to this living tattoo?
He's very unimpressed.
So does he ever get used to it, or is it one of those things where he thinks, oh God, I've got to lift it over this damn tattoo?
Well, I don't want to take too much away from the ending of the book, obviously, but there's certainly a lot of conflict early on, and if they don't figure out how to coexist, then they won't survive. So they need to figure this out.
There's a real symbiotic relationship between them.
Well, certainly not initially, but they need to figure out how it has to.
It's almost like a parasite-host relationship.
Almost.
A parasite can only survive if it keeps its host alive. If it kills its host, it kills itself.
Yeah.
So you're basically saying the tattoo has to keep.
She needs to do what she can to keep him alive, and he figures out pretty quick that he needs her around.
It's interesting, I'm talking and saying the tattoo, and you're saying she.
Yes.
And obviously because you wrote the book, the tattoo really did take on a life of its own.
Yeah, look, and she does. Leisha, that's her name in the book as the tattoo.
Does he give her a name, or does she say my name is?
So she knows her name, but she doesn't know a whole lot else. She's a new entity.
Is she aware that she's a tattoo?
She does become aware, and she becomes aware that she's attached to a man, and she doesn't know how to figure that out. She doesn't know what that means. She just knows that she's trapped on his body.
So she feels she's not happy.
No, neither of them are happy.
So he's not happy. He didn't get the tattoo he envisaged.
Nope.
And she didn't end up where she envisaged.
That's right. So it really is a case of these two opposing forces having to come together and figure out how they survive together.
How did you come up with this concept? I mean, the idea of tattoos are very common now, I get that.
Yep.
But this is a new way of looking at it, isn't it?
Look, it is, I think, and the initial concept came from a piece of fantasy art by a Peruvian artist named Boris Vallejo. And the artwork's called Tattoo, and on that artwork, a heavily muscled guy has a tattoo of a lizard on his arm, and the top half of it is come alive and is biting into his arm.
Oh, okay. So he's basically getting eaten by his own tattoo.
Well,
yeah, basically.
Essentially, yeah. The tattoo's got a lot of work to eat the whole lot of him because he's a big guy. But that idea just evolved, and it just needed to become something a little bit more, with a bit more meat behind it.
Yeah, and obviously in the case of the other fella, not so much meat. Meat ever declining.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, really appreciate you dropping in for a chat, David Loermans. What's the name of the book?
The book is called Cadence, First Steps on the Path of Light.
Love it. Thanks very much for joining us.
Thank you, Chris.
The excerpt I have for you today is from the first chapter in Cadence. It had been a long day, and the terrible weather did nothing to make it any better. Driving rain lashed the streets and added an ethereal depth to the dark, moonless night. The only plus for a burgeoning city like Sorrel was that the filth that had built up through the months would finally be washed away to collect in the drains. There was no shortage of grime in a city like this. Sorrel was situated on flat coastal land perfectly suited to support both sea and spaceport facilities, and had a long history as a bustling port and trade centre. More than 14 million people called this capital city of Cato home, but the once prosperous reputation had faded over the last 20 years. The ageing architecture simply could not support the new technologies that formed the building blocks of the newer cities. Expensive redevelopment plans were started and shelved a dozen times over, as successive political leaders promised to make the wonders of new developments available to all. It never happened, of course. For one reason or another, the promises were broken, the partially completed improvements barely making a difference to the lives of the populace. It left the city and its residents in a perpetual state of disrepair. While changes to infrastructure and buildings were slow, the population rapidly adapted to the new opportunities created by the chaos. The local law enforcement, deprived of the new tracking systems and weaponry available in other cities, found themselves overwhelmed by tech-savvy and highly mobile criminal element. Corruption and crime competed with mineral mining for the title of the most profitable industries. While the central city area was nearly habitable, the dark laneways and alleys on the port side of the city were more likely to be a death trap for anyone, no matter the intent. This was home to Darius Cade, or as close as he came to calling any place home. Moving slowly through the dark trees, he pulled his long, heavy woolen coat close around his neck to keep out of the rain. He was watchful, as always, not due to any fear for his own safety, but keenly aware of new opportunities. His muscular 6'4" frame kept most people at bay and served as a great tool for intimidation, although on occasion it also seemed to attract trouble. Trouble was an apt description for the woman leaning against the doorway just ahead of him. She cowered a little from the rain and turned at his approach to offer him a weak smile. Her faded black jacket fell open to reveal pale skin, covered strategically by shreds of lacy black lingerie. He took only a moment to realize that she had captured his attention, lowering her eyes as she smiled coyly. "On such a cold, wet night, perhaps you could see your way to keep a poor girl warm for a while," she asked in a husky voice, as dark, damp locks fell across her pretty face. Darius paused as if in consideration before he stepped in front of her slight form, and he took a hold of the open edges of her jacket. She could not have been any more than 20 years old, and she was pretty almost to the point of being heart-stoppingly beautiful. In any other city, in any other world, that beauty may have earned her a comfortable and happy life. Here, though, her slightly pursed red-painted lips and the hungered look in her chocolate-brown eyes stood testament to her trade in pleasure. "Get out of the rain, lass," he said as he dropped a $50 note in her pocket before pulling her jacket closed. "And forget that you have seen me." It was not a request. There was no doubt in her mind that he meant business, but that didn't stop her from trying again as she opened the door and leaned against the frame seductively. "If you change your mind, you know where to find me," she said with a wink as she eased her way into the shadowed room. Darius shook his bald head as he turned the corner and opened the door to a dimly lit bar. The local haunt was quiet at this time of the night, with no more than a dozen other patrons in various states of drunkenness, just the way he liked it. Striding directly up to the bar, he nodded to the heavy-set barman before he took a seat on a grimy stool. "Mike, give me a top-shelf scotch, and I need some information," he said in a quiet rumble, hearing footsteps behind him. He took a deep breath and turned quickly on the stool, but it was not nearly quick enough. The cold touch of steel pressed against the side of his neck as a low, threatening voice whispered in his ear. "You shouldn't have come here, Darius. The price in your head is enough for any bounty hunter to retire on. Looks like I got lucky. Now don't get any clever ideas. The needler against your neck is laced with cyano, so you will get up, nice and slow, and do as you're told." This excerpt certainly highlights David's intense world building and action-paced narrative. I hope that it was enough of a teaser for you to have a further look. I have had a few comments from people who have watched the live about the display David had on the day. He has a snake-like 3D skeleton and it was awesome. From looking at the front cover of his book, you can tell it's from the tattoo that our main guy gets. So it was very cool. My first takeaway from the interview was how deep he went into the world building. Creating his own religion for the society and all that goes with that is pretty amazing. My second takeaway was part of his advice to get the draft down and not stress about the editing at first. This is a common theme that I've heard from many writers. My third takeaway was his second part of advice, which was listen to others who have been through similar experiences. Creatives are generally quite an affable bunch. What were your key takeaways? If you would like to carry on the conversation with David, then he has Facebook, TikTok, and his own website, dgloermans.com. You can find all the social links in the show notes along with his book information. In the next episode, you will hear from David Cornford. If you are enjoying the show and would like to show some support, then please subscribe and share these episodes with a friend. Or, if you want to go the next step, then you can buy us a cuppa. Head on over to ko-fi.com/findingalara. That's ko-fi.com/findingalara. There is an option for you to buy us a cup of tea for $2, or you can join the Shadow Lair for $5 a month, where you receive exclusive content and advanced information about the show. If you would like to get in touch with myself or the team at Bushland Castle Productions, then I'm on Instagram and TikTok as @FindingAlara. There is a Discord channel and Facebook group called Finding Alara Podcast. The Bushland Castle Productions team are on Facebook, Instagram, and Discord as BCP Creative. Or you can check out the website bushlandcastleproductions.com for the most up-to-date information. If you would like to get in touch with Chris, then he is on Facebook as Chris Ilsley. And if you want to talk to Paul, then he is on Facebook as Paul Vandermeer. And he has his own podcast, Forest.chat. The music is brought to you by @Keys of Moon Music and is called The Epic Hero. If you enjoyed listening to Finding Alara, have any questions or just want to share your world with us, then please get in touch. Until next time, keep up the search for your Alara.